Xavier, I just want to make sure you can hear me. Xavier? Can you guys hear me? Marka, is that you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure it works. So good. Okay, hold on.
Hey, Lillian.
Hello.
How are
I
you?
think everything's working. But we'll hold on a few minutes.
Okay.
afternoon, everyone.
Callie, I'm going to look to you to tell me when you think we have a quorum, and then I'll turn it over. I'll open, and then obviously I think you're going to read the preamble, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So Denise was first. She gets extra credit. I see August. I see Erica. So I think we have a quorum. Do we know if anyone else is coming?
It looks like we have all 6 planning
Oh,
commission members
We
here,
do.
so
Okay.
we're good to go.
All right, we're good to go. So then I will start. Welcome to the special planning commission meeting. And before we get started and call the roll, I'm going to turn it over to the director to read some rules. And I'd like to note for those that are tuning in that this special meeting has had proper notice and we have a quorum. So this official meeting of the Cleveland Planning Commission. So with that, Director Merson.
Thank you, Chair. I am now going to read our preamble. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the Codified Ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conduct its meetings in a manner modeled after Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Recusals from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that online participants use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located in the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels have been considered. And I'll just note that these deadlines are for our regular Friday morning meetings and so are not necessarily consistent with this special Friday afternoon meeting. We have received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Proper channels for comments are listed below. Communications with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by the Wednesday noon deadline are collected by City Planning staff and disseminated to the Commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Proper channels for public comment include sending an email to City planning@clevelandohio.gov address with a comment or letter, calling and or leaving a message at 216-664-2210, or sending a letter or dropping off comments at City Hall, 601 Lakeside Avenue, Suite 501, Cleveland, Ohio 44114. Our meeting rules and procedures are that the chair will call the agenda item and the applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. The presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation has concluded, the chair will ask planning staff to summarize any recommendations, if applicable, and any public comments received. Because today we're hearing one piece of legislation through mandatory referral, there will not be planning staff design review comments included in the agenda. Public comments received through the proper channels by the deadline are distributed to commission members prior to the meeting through Dropbox. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff if applicable. The commission will then begin deliberations and project review. Any commission member except the chair may make a motion at any point after an agenda item has been called.
Thank you. Okay, let's call the roll.
Good morning. Sorry, this is Xavier. I'm stepping in place here for Evelyn. Start with the roll. Curry,
Yes, here.
Fluker,
Present.
McCray Scott,
Present.
Slife,
Present.
Anthony,
Present.
and Sargent.
Present.
Thank you,
All
Madam
right,
Chair.
we have a quorum. Thank you. And a full house. So thank you. We are going to hear a mandatory referral. I believe if you go to the next page, this is an ordinance. It's a numbered ordinance, 1322-2024, authorizing the mayor and directors of law, parks and recreation, port control, and or the Office of Capital Projects as appropriate to enter in one or more agreements and amendments to the lease by way of concession with the Browns or their designees, to infatuate the terms and conditions in the settlement term sheet regarding the relocation of the Cleveland Browns to the city of Brook Park and the demolition of Huntington Bank Field. Determining the method of making public improvement, of designing and performing demolition and site preparation, such as the sports facility, other structures, designing and constructing various lakefront improvements, authorizing other professional service contracts, accepting gifts and grants, and establishing the Community Benefits Project and Lakefront Development Subfunds. I believe we're going to have a presentation from staff and administration before we have discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one clerical note before we hand it over to Ms. Trevisano is that the correct ordinance number is 1325-2025. There was a typo on the previous slide.
Okay. So we'll please note that for the record. This is the proper ordinance number, correct, on the screen?
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So ordinance number 1325-2025. Okay. So I believe Jessica Trevisano, will turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members of Planning Commission, for accommodating this special meeting on a Friday afternoon. We are bringing to you a piece of legislation for mandatory referral, as everyone has said, that authorizes certain terms of the Brown settlement. The reason we asked for this special meeting is really a timing consideration more than anything else. You may be aware the mayor and members of the administration had a hearing with council members on Monday where we started to talk about this settlement. We introduced this legislation on Monday's council meeting. We know that council members intend to have a thorough vetting process of this legislation through multiple committees. And so we thank you for accommodating this meeting so that we can hopefully work through the administrative review process and then move on to the review with City Council. This is a summary of what you just heard, so I don't need to repeat it, but this is kind of the overview of what is in the legislation before you for mandatory referral. We can go to the next page. I just want to spend a moment summarizing the terms of what is in the agreement. So the ordinance authorizes certain portions of the settlement agreement. Overall, that agreement states the following, that HSG or Haslam Sports Group, the owner of the Browns, will pay or donate $25 million to the city by December 1st of this year, or once all approvals are secured. That funding will be used to advance lakefront development. That HSG will demolish the current Huntington Bank Field in downtown Cleveland and get that site ready for development upon the termination of their lease. That is a demolition project and site readiness project that HSG, Haslam Sports Group, is going to undertake themselves. So the estimated cost of that is $30 million, but if the costs are in excess of $30 million, Haslam Sports Group is responsible for the work of demolishing the Huntington Bank Field and returning the site to pad readiness. In addition, HSG will pay or donate $5 million to the city every year for 5 years, totaling another $25 million to accelerate lakefront development. And then upon termination of the lease, Haslam Sports Group will donate another $20 million to the city of Cleveland for community benefit projects that could be used throughout the city, that will be paid out as $2 million per year for 10 years. Also, as part of the agreement, the parties have agreed to work together to ensure public health and safety interests regarding any effects on Cleveland Hopkins International Airport operations caused by the new stadium in Brook Park. And both parties have agreed to mutually support infrastructure plans with respect to the Brook Park Stadium mixed-use project, modernization of Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, and development of Cleveland's lakefront, including redevelopment of Burke Lakefront Airport property. Those last 2 bullet points are really meant to capture collaboration between Haslam Sports Group and the city of Cleveland, intended between the parties to see each other's projects through. And then if we go to the next slide. I wanted to spend a couple more moments really focusing on Cleveland's North Coast lakefront and the impact that this settlement has on the lakefront. As stated before, the donations by the Browns will advance lakefront development. There will be $50 million available to advance the work on the lakefront. So I anticipate that will be used for things like planning and design, other site work necessary to facilitate redevelopment of the site, public amenities, park space, streets, roads, public improvements that are necessary to facilitate redevelopment of the North Coast. Again, this provides a method for demolishing the stadium and preparing the site for development at no cost to the city. Otherwise, the city's lease with the Browns, the city would be responsible for this, at least $30 million cost. This means that Haslam Sports Group will be responsible for the demolition and the site work. I want to emphasize with Planning Commission that all improvements, so whether that's public improvements, amenities, new buildings, will all be subject to Planning Commission review. So this legislation does not sort of authorize any additional building on the site. Anything that happens on the site is going to be subject to the regular entitlement process and additional review by Planning Commission. And just an update while I have you, I know Scott Skinner gave a presentation to Planning Commission probably a month ago or so now about the RFQ process for lakefront redevelopment. North Coast Waterfront Development Corporation did a request for qualifications, seeking developers interested in partnering with NCWDC and the city to reimagine this 50-acre site. NCWDC is currently in the process of evaluating responses to that RFQ to identify the partners that'll help lead those redevelopment efforts. That's what I have, but I'm very happy to answer any questions that the commission might have for me.
Okay. Commission members, I'm going to open it up. I think we're also going to see if there are any questions and comments first. And I'm going to also afterwards defer to the director to see if there will be taking any other comment. But first, we'll start with commission members. I can start. I actually do have one question. I guess this is to you for Jessica. This legislation, but I think we can assume from the commission's point of view, his purview is over these kind of large public projects that take many, many years. That as the projects develop along the way, this mandatory referral does not preclude, let's say, the individual projects or the infrastructures that comes to come back through the commission as they come to fruition. So that will still continue, correct?
That's correct, Chair.
Okay.
Madam Chair, to Jessica, just a brief clarifying question. Good afternoon. So on the third, on slide that is number 12, I'm just trying to understand the donation by the Browns that will advance the 50 million. Is that accumulation of things that were noted in the previous slide, or is that in addition to what was noted in the previous slide?
Yeah, thank you for the question. That is a accumulation of the items noted in the previous slide. So that is comprised of a $25 million payment that will come as soon as December 1st, and then 5 installment payments of $5 million starting in 2029.
Thank you for that clarifying question. And then can you speak a little bit to, let's see what bullet this is on. The community benefits. So the third bullet from the bottom on slide 11, can you talk a little bit about the $2 million of investment and what, I know it's, early in the process, but if there's any discussion on what that will entail?
Yeah, it is early in the process. There's a commitment from Haslam Sports Group that in addition to all of the other commitments that are kind of listed above, this $2 million per year for 10 years on projects that are mutually agreed upon by Haslam Sports Group and the city. We anticipate that these are projects that are going to be focused around in neighborhoods all throughout the city of Cleveland, as opposed to focused on lakefront development. So that's the reason for kind of that difference between this pot of funds and the other funds that we're talking about.
Thank you. And one last question, if I may. The last bullet on slide 11, talking about the mutual support for plans for the different locations that are noted in that bullet. Are there any commitments of dollars or resources for those plans, or is it just both parties, the HSG and the city, will work together?
It is the latter. So there's no financial commitment from the city on any portion of this. Certainly no financial commitment around infrastructure or safety or any of those items. This is really intended to capture the city's commitment to really work with Haslam Sports Group on things like any infrastructure projects that they might need to undertake, that the city will use its normal course of business to make comments to make sure that we're having infrastructure projects that benefit the entire city, and that the city is commenting in our regular course of business as opposed to taking a more litigious approach to any concerns we might have.
Okay, thank you so much.
Commission members, any additional questions or comments?
Yes,
I
Madam
just want go ahead.
I think I heard Commissioner McCray Scott, is that correct?
Yes, I did have my hand raised. What I wanted
Okay.
to know is on slide 11, the fourth bullet, the $2 million per year, how is that money going to be allocated? Is it going to be allocated by ward, or what is the method of reciprocity for those funds?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. We are really looking to our colleagues in City Council to help us determine the best way for us to allocate these funds. So I don't have an answer yet, but I anticipate we will in short order.
August?
No, I was just gonna reinforce the fact that we are here to approve really the deal. The details, other than just the tranches of money, will be ironed out as the projects and as the opportunities avail themselves. So I just wanted to be clear. I don't think there's any other details beyond what we have in front of us at this time.
I do, Jessica, just a quick question. If down the line, there's some other reuse of the existing stadium and it's not demolished, are those funds, is that money fungible? Meaning like it can go towards renovation and reuse?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It's not a that is not an end state that we're anticipating with this settlement agreement or with the lakefront in general. We've done some initial looks at in partnership with NCWDC about reuse of the stadium, and we feel confident that a demolishment of the stadium and getting it prepared for pad readiness is the best approach. So what we've contemplated is that they will raise the stadium and bring it to a pad ready state. We have not broached a conversation about that $30 million value if that wasn't to be the case.
Okay. Okay,
Chair, Councilman Slive's hand is raised as well.
okay. Councilman Slive.
Couldn't tell if it was. Thank you, Director. I'll say I agree with August on what the ask is of approving the broad scope of the terms versus the details. And I'll also say that, I think the most compelling aspect of this so far to me is the stadium demolition. We certainly don't want to have to bear that at the city's cost. Kind of that being said, and I can only speak for myself. I don't want to suggest that I'm speaking for my colleagues, although I suspect that my analysis of this up to this point is in line with many, if not most, of council, is that there's still so many moving parts to all of this. Frankly, it was stated on Monday that there was an all-of-government approach to this deal. I'd push back and say that council was not involved. In fact, didn't know until 5 minutes before the announcement that such a settlement had been reached. So some of my questions that are outstanding are really the three that jump off the page. One's the determination that 50 million goes to the lakefront versus some other some other divisibility between the lakefront and other assets. I've said all along, or other goals, that developing the lakefront is a goal that I share for the city of Cleveland, but I don't think that it is going to be the cure-all that's going to fix everything. And I worry that we are focusing a lot of attention downtown to the detriment of other parts of the city. That's one question. Two, it's unclear if the existing bond debt we still have, I think to the tune of $30 million for the stadium, was factored in. So yes, we're getting money for development, but we're still having to retire debts. And then the third thing is to the question about how the dollars are spent in the neighborhoods. I want to be clear that while we often say take a pot of money and divide it by the number of wards, that's not something we would have to do per se here. However, just for sense of scale, if we were to take $2 million, and that's $2 million today, not $2 million down the road, which would be less, and divide it by coming 15 wards, it turns out to be about like $133,000 a year, which is what I recall it cost to repave Hipple Avenue 2 years ago. And if you know where Hipple Avenue is, that it sort of illustrates that that's not a neighborhood-wide, let alone city-wide type of investment. So when we talk about the opportunity cost, and by that I mean what residents of Cleveland gave up in city services and investment over 30 years to fund the Browns downtown, I'm not sure that this proposal before us, I don't feel comfortable that it is acknowledging the amount of that's been lost by Cleveland residents and through both the amounts and the concentration of dollars. So all that being said, I expect there to be a lot of robust conversations on this at council. I would not be surprised if this legislation is referred back due to changes made at council. So at this time, I just find this conversation a bit premature, and I'm gonna anticipate my vote of no of referring this out of Planning Commission. Thank you.
Councilman, did you want me to respond to those 3 items?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
It's you may, if the chair would like you to.
Yes, if you would like, Jessica.
Sure. I think I can at least respond kind of broadly to each, and I agree with Councilman Slife that there's a lot of conversation that we anticipate having with City Council moving forward, and looking forward to doing that through the committee process, kind of once we get through this initial administrative review. On the lakefront piece, developing the lakefront has been an unfulfilled dream of Clevelanders for over 100 years, and it's going to take substantial investment for us to do that. Not only will it take $50 million in donations from the Haslam Sports Group, but also $150 million in federal grants, and also funding in match for those federal grants, and additional equity investment from private developers. I mean, it is going to be a substantial project, but one that we believe wholeheartedly is well worth it to see through the promise of Cleveland's lakefront and North Coast and activate that 50 acres, 365 days a year, to have a new lakefront development neighborhood in the city of Cleveland. So I do think it is, well worth it for us to be looking at these dollars for the lakefront. And I will also say that the Haslam Sports Group had made clear that if they were to leave Cleveland, that they would be part of the solution for what happens next on the lakefront. And this financial commitment is a way for them to be part of that solution. On the second point about the debts, I think that this is something we're going to continue talking about with City Council, but my understanding is that the debts associated with the stadium were 30-year debts lined up with the lease term for the Brown Stadium, and that lease ends in 2029. There was no way for the city to keep the Browns here past 2029, and so I anticipate we'll have additional conversations around that debt service, what is remaining in that debt, and the impacts that the Brown Stadium has had for the city of Cleveland, which I anticipate is why City Council and administration in 1999 approved that initial lease and that debt to pay off the stadium. And then last, on the community benefits, I mean, I think we are going to, as I said, continue having conversations with City Council about these dollars and how to best allocate these dollars in partnership with Haslam Sports Group. But the settlement that we are talking about today is not an a la carte situation. We can't pick and choose which pieces we want to approve or disapprove. It is really a complete package that we are bringing to this commission and to City Council.
Thank you. Commission member, any other comments? I'm going to ask the director, or do you anticipate that we'll take any other public comment at this time?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I see Commission Member McCray Scott's hand is raised again, and then I'll be happy to open it up to anyone online who has a public comment.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but to the presenter, I just want to know, is there any way possible that they would add additional monies to these terms? Or is it as is?
Yeah, to the commission member, what is offered is what is offered. The city went through a long process of seeking the highest settlement number that we could possibly get, and $100 million is the extent of what is available from Haslam Sports Group as part of settlement of these pieces of litigation.
Thank you. All right, Director Mercerman, you want to open it up and just see if there's any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you, Chair. At this time, if we have any members of the public who would like to offer a comment, please feel free to raise your hand. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there's a raised hand button in the center of the bottom of your screen to the right of that menu bar. And I'm scanning the names.
Okay,
Sorry.
and as you're doing that, and I'm going to just say that taking public comment is at the discretion of the chair. I'm open to that. I always like to be inclusive, but I will be keeping any public comments to 3 minutes or less. And I'll ask that you state your name and address before you begin, and address the chair with your comments or questions, and I'll direct them where necessary. And we'll time any comments to 3 minutes or less. So thank you. Are there any hands raised?
Thank you, Chair. I do not see any hands raised.
Hi, this is Xavier. I do know there's at least one person in our main conference room listening in. I sent Ari down there to make sure if they had a comment, they knew how to unmute.
Okay. Check for a second.
Chair, I believe he's a reporter.
Okay.
I was listening in person.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, we'll close the public portion and ask for any other discussion or a motion from the commission members. Okay.
Madam Chair, I don't have the ordinance number in front of me. However, I think it was 1325.
You're going back. There you go.
I move to approve ordinance number 1325 for the settlement as I identified in the presentation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Okay, Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
and then Sargent
Yes.
and Slife.
No.
All right. Motion carries. I just want to confirm, McCray Scott, you were a yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to confirm. Mine cut out. So motion passes. Well, thank you. And really thank you all, especially to the staff and the commission member for making the time today for this meeting. And we will stay close to this as things evolve. I think the commission will play an important role over time in the redevelopment of the lakefront and the many pieces that will come in the future. And so I appreciate the staff, and Jessica, thank you for your time and the thorough presentation and taking the questions. So this is the beginning, and it'll be an important part of this work of this commission, just as it has been with very large civic projects. And I thank you. Is there anything else before I adjourn to the director?
No, Chair, simply a reminder that our next regularly scheduled meeting is Friday, November 7th. And I'll second the thanks for coming together for this special meeting on a Friday afternoon.
Okay. Thank you all. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.